Well, hello Exiles. This is a very affordable budget build for a Falling Thunder martial artist. If you want screen wide clear and one-shot bosses, I got you. In this video I'll go over the build concept and the mechanics, the playstyle, gems, passive tree and the gear, as well as some nifty tips and tricks. At the end of the video I've got a 16 map showcase if you want to see the build further in action.
There are fates worse than death. Divinity's curse must not escape again!
In this build we use Falling Thunder as our main skill for mapping and bossing. Now, Falling Thunder requires a lot of power charges because you get both more damage and more projectiles for each power charge. Especially on a budget, power charges are everything. Now to generate these constantly, we use a combination of both active and passive mechanics. The most important one is the combination of Culmination 2 support gem as well as A-list chimes. A-list chimes is a lineage support gem that you can use only once unless under specific circumstances. Now Culmination 2 makes it so that the skill that it supports can now use combo points, and then A-list chimes gives it a chance to generate power charges for every combo point that it uses. Now this combination is key and can work for almost any skill. I personally use it in Whirling Assault, but you can try it with any different skill gem setup that you like. However, this in turn requires us to have a fast and consistent way to generate a lot of combo points. For that, luckily, we have our ascendancy with the nodes Martial Adept and Martial Master. Now every attack hit can generate combo points and we generate them much faster. So more combo points means more power charges, means more damage. As I've said, power charges are literally everything. I'm also using a lot more tools to generate power charges, but this is the main active way that we do so in this build. Playstyle wise, I alternate Whirling Assault and Falling Thunder, while keeping charged staff up. For bossing I use some damage boosting abilities like Rend, Refutation and Mantra of Destruction, but you don't really need these for mapping. Right, the skill gems, I'm using Rend with Prolonged Duration 2, Perpetual Charge, Heightened Charges, Rapid Attacks 3, and Rage 3. Spirit Vessel is a skill from my body armor and it's used to offset damage in combination with Ramirez Equido, Elemental Army, Hulking Minions and Mute Shield 2. The main skill, Falling Thunder, I use Culmination 2 there. Blindside, this is very strong if you have a reliable source of blind in your build. Nova Projectiles 1, Pinpoint Critical to make sure I max out on crit chance at the moment. I will ideally replace this later on if I get more base crit on my quarterstaff, and Elemental Armament 2. Then my power charge generation skill, I use Whirling Assault with Culmination 2 and A-list chimes. If you use it also in combination with Living Lightning, especially on the martial artist, these Living Lightnings then can also generate combo points which can be used for Whirling Assault. So this is a great addition to the setup. In combination with Charge Profusion 2 and Rage 3. Another reliable source for Rage, and this is very important for your build because Rage is basically a more damage modifier for any type of attack damage. Hand of Chayula is a great way to apply a curse and a mark to a single target, and I use Heightened Curse and Prolonged Duration for that one. I use Charged Staff as an overall damage buff, especially for clear, and Prolonged Duration, Perpetual Charge, Heightened Charges and Innervate. If you have consistent charges, one of the best buffs is Charge Regulation because it gives you more crit chance, armor and skill speed, defenses in general. And I use Clarity 1 in here just because 10 spirit left, but it's not required at all. Then my clear skill, that's Herald Vice. This basically only works if you can chain the Shatter Explosions with the Armor Break here. So Armor Break 2 with Armor Explosion, Urk Smeltings to speed that up, with Elemental Armament and Magnified Area. In order for this to properly work, you need to be able to break armor reliably, so you need a source of gain damages extra fizz in your build, and ideally you need to also do a lot of cold damage in order to freeze and shatter enemies in the first place. So you need a source of fizz as extra damages extra fizz, and ideally a couple of sources of damages extra cold, plus freeze magnitude. Then I use Wing Dancer with Magnified Area, Pinpoint Critical, Maim, and Life Leech 3. I use Refutation as another damage buff with Prolonged Duration 2, cooldown recovery 2, rapid casting 2, and efficiency 2. And lastly, Matter of Destruction, also a buff with prolonged duration 2, delayed gratification, mobility, and chaos mastery. Okay, let's look at the items. For my weapon, I use the Rune Master's Duality Core Warning Staff. This is a very strong budget option that gives a very high amount of flat damage on a decent budget. You can buy one now, just like this, for probably 10 to 12 divines. It also provides a very strong defensive boost with guard whenever you use combo points. Unfortunately, it has only 10% base crit, so when you have more resources, it's definitely better to upgrade to an elemental staff with high base crit. That's my next investment, but I wanted to show you the budget setup that can easily clear the game. Offhand, I use this low level talisman mainly for hindered, as well as skilled effect duration for my rend. It's an excellent damage boost for whenever I need it. The helmet slot, I opted for the Vestige of Darkness. This one is corrupted with a +1 max power charge. These go for like half a divine each and are absolutely amazing on a budget. The Blind Presence is vital for defenses, as well as allowing me to use Blindside on my Falling Thunder setup reliably. In there I put an Idol of Valera for more power charge generation. Another amazing budget option is the body armor slot. I use Forgotten Warden Primal Markings. This one might be one of the best evasion energy shield body armors out there, because it provides excellent defenses as well as an extra skill that's very versatile and allows you to mitigate part of the damage that you take. Unless you have literally like a god tier evasion energy shield body armor, I think this is a very good option. In there I also use an idol to support the use of power charges. For the amulet I went with the super cheap, one exalted Serpent's Egg gold amulet. It provides a very good set of stats with Chaos Res, attributes and rarity, but the main draw here is really that it doubles my charges gained. I have double corrupted it for another 50% chance to gain a charge whenever you gain a charge. Ideally the double corrupt removes the mana regen and not the attributes, but I got this on my second try, so I kept it. The anoint is the newly discovered Thaumaturgic Generator. This is a very strong anoint whenever you use charges, because every 5 seconds you get a free charge based on the attribute requirements of your skills, and obviously that's doubled whenever you use this amulet. Rings are basically just as much resistances and flat damage as you get, and if you need attributes somewhere you can get them definitely on your rings. I got these for about 5 divines each at the time of purchase. For boots I just went for high as possible evasion, obviously with movement speed and resistances. The belt once again is a budget item, and I just went with whatever I needed, which was at the time attributes, life and resistances. Now the gloves, they're the most important slot, and they will turn into a powerhouse whenever you have the Way of the Stonefist Ascendancy node, which obviously every martial artist has. The most important modifiers on here are Arcane Surge on hit, which basically turns into chance to gain a power charge on crit. Other very good stats are crit damage, +2 level of melee skills, and flat fist to attacks, which turns into % damage as extra fist, which is used for the Herald of Ice clear attack. Ideally, I think it would have flat and percentage evasion and energy shield on there for massive defenses. But I crafted this one myself with 2 explode mods, and so I just went with that for now. Now I know you're gonna say, yeah, these are gonna be like 100 divines, but really you don't need these in the beginning. The most important thing is just power charge on crit, and then later on you can try to self-craft them and see what you can come up with. I ran with these other gloves for the longest time, and because this build is all about power charges, the most important thing is to get a power charge on crit mod, and ideally flat fist, so you don't have to take that you don't have to take any gain damages extra physical on the passive tree, especially if you're on a budget. For my flasks, I have a basic life flask. It can probably be upgraded, but I haven't really found the need yet. For mana flask, I'm using Levian's Spirit, because I'm just very lazy and I'd rather not press my mana flask if I don't have to. Charms are very important quality of life improvements that you definitely should not ignore. I went for a freeze, ignite and stun charm with guard. Stun and freeze are just very annoying, and ignite is very dangerous in general because it can stack up. For my tattered runes, just use whenever you need and for convenience. A big shout out to Kraken's Rune of Warding, which basically makes you immune to curses when combined with Hollow Keeper in the passive tree. This is super strong. Okay, now for the passive tree. As you can see here, I'm just toggling my weapon set. right? Weapon set 2, I've got it just for rend, and I just toggled some nodes for skill effect duration basically. This is not optimized, but just an initial setup that I've chosen. Now, what have I gone for here on the passive tree? Just a generic starting area with a lot of very efficient nodes right here. And then what I've got here is a lot of investments into crit damage here. This cluster, we got more crit damage right here. And then I think we got a lot more crit damage here. And especially this node is very important because it adds 1% base crit to your weapon. Besides that, I've invested in some freeze magnitude basically for my Herald of Ice Clear. So we got a node right here. And then I think we got some very efficient quarterstaffs node right here, which don't only provide defenses but also freeze buildup and stun buildup for your quarterstaffs. Besides that, I've gone for a lot of very efficient nodes that scale damage as well as defenses, for example Spectral Ward, as well as here at the bottom, Enhanced Reflexes and Bestial Skin. Now here, let's have a look at the jewels. I've got just a very basic Heart of the Well jewel here. I've gone with Damages Extra Cold. This once again helps my Herald of Ice Clear, as well as Damages Extra Chaos, which is just prime in terms of damage because your monsters usually don't have that high chaos resistances in terms of elemental. I also opted for a percentage mana on kill there because when you're clearing you definitely want some mana recovery. I've got also mana on kill on this jewel right here, combined with some defenses, shock magnitude and crit chance. Just overall good stats. Nothing amazing, but very decent jewel that I've crafted myself, I think for like 2 divines. We got one more jewel right here. This is a time lost jewel that once again I've crafted myself. You just buy something with decent stats and then you put one of these liquid things on there to upgrade the radius to very large, and that way you can use the bonus effects of all these sockets that we're using here. Now, what I've gone for, and the most important thing here for me, was damage penetrates lightning, because you get almost 25 to 30% penetration from all of these marks, and that's very important if you don't have a very high an expensive item like Rakiatas on your main skill. Obviously running with Rakiatas is way better, but it costs 100 vines, so this is a very good budget option to go for. If you don't want to do this, you can always go here, and I think you've got 3 efficient nodes here with 6, 6 and 18 for a total of 30% lightning penetration for your Falling Thunder. We've got a section here which is very efficient in terms of crit chance, but it does mean that your enemies need to be blinded, so make sure you have some source of blind in your build. I personally use the Vestige of Darkness right now. So yeah, that's my tree right now. It can definitely be optimized, especially when I get more gear. I'm using for an upgrade for quarterstaffs what I'm looking for, and then I can probably spec out of a lot of these crit nodes and use them instead for crit damage. Now, other nodes that are very important too are these ones here, the Power Within for +1 max power charge, and also this section here with in the end +2 max power charges. So that's really what it is, you know, a nice balance of offense and defense, as well as a very important tech to go for the power charges and freeze build-up in order to make you clear much better. Alright, a few small tips and tricks at the end. If you're struggling with Chaos Res on your gear, I would highly advise you to use an Amethyst Charm. The Forsaken Bangle's excellent because not only does it give you 18 Chaos Res, it also recoups chaos damage, 50% of the chaos damage that's prevented when you get hit, as life and mana. I think this is an absolutely amazing budget option, and you know, you can get it for like, you know, this one is 20 Exalt because probably it's like max roll, right? 25% increased duration, but you can buy one of these for like 5 Exalts if you want to. Now, another thing is I've bought this one and I corrupted it myself before looking at this, but if you can see here in your skill slots, it has 5 skill slots instead of 6. Now, I heard that you can actually use a perfect jeweler orb on there, and then it actually gets 6 slots, so we're gonna try that right now. Okay, so we've done that, and now we're going to take that one out, and we're gonna equip that one, and yes, indeed, as you can see now it has 6 skill slots, so I'm gonna replace this one right now. I bought this one for 1 divine. I put some quality on it, and yeah, I didn't put any rune in there. You can put this one, for example, in there. This is interesting because it gives you base armor, evasion and max energy shield, and then that will get scaled by the percentage increased on here. So if we put that on here, we now got 424 energy shield as well as more evasion, so almost a 100 increase. So definitely an improvement for me. And I'm gonna put my support gems on there, right, just like that. And I've got one extra slot. I'm probably gonna put Amunamu's Tithe on there. And yeah, probably gonna pal it too. I do like to do that for my items. Let's see, we get an improvement. And not so much, no extra skill slot. I don't think much happened. Anyway, it's still always fun to do that. So yeah, just wanted to leave you with that. Alright, that's it for now. If you find some value here, please consider liking or subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and keep an eye out for the next video if you want to see the full min-max version of this full screen slammer. I'll leave you with a map showcase right now so you can see the build further in action. See you later.
No other waves will find you. You must be out of your mind.
The tempest howls, the flames roar, the frost